Don't Restore Labour, on the Makerfield Mania, Part 1. In a surprising twist to the power struggles that followed Labour's woeful local election results, Josh Simons resigned his seat in Makerfield to pave the way for an Andy Burnham leadership challenge. The Sun claim a Labour source told them this was being planned for a year, while others believe the seat was not Burnham's first choice. Certainly, Burnham has been on manoeuvres for some time, notably at the last Labour conference. Simons is a controversial figure who was in charge of Labour Together when the pro-Starmer group was allegedly spying on and smearing journalists. It is ironic that Simons, a once loyal young stormtrooper, is now making a decisive move towards ditching Sir Keir. Bad though the Labour Together scandal is, this alone is not enough to warrant a career politician giving up their parliamentary seat and salary. No, something was clearly offered to Simons to make his sacrifice. Indeed, Number 10 sources later admitted Simons would be given a head of policy role by Burnham. Simons rubbished this claim, but did not deny it. The salary for this role could easily surpass that of a lowly MP. After all, Sue Gray was paid more than the PM. That likely won't be an end to it. Honours, a knighthood or a peerage could well follow, or all three. I would argue Simons has made himself look undignified with the whole affair, and for me it wouldn't be worth it. But I'm not an avaricious brown-noser of a politician. This situation is extraordinary, with the next Prime Minister effectively being decided by a single by-election. Not only that, but the sole purpose of the election is to allow that individual to become PM. A Labour MP has vacated a Labour seat so the Labour Party can campaign to remove the current Labour Prime Minister. The only parallel in living memory was a 1965 by-election in Leighton, intended to parachute in Labour's desired Foreign Secretary who had recently lost his own seat. That hilariously failed, and the Conservatives won the seat back from Labour by a tight margin. We can only hope a similar outcome thwarts Burnham, this time with Reform as the victors. Although legitimate where the law is concerned, this scheme cooked up by Burnham and Simons is deeply cynical and feels somewhat corrupt. The concept of parliamentary representation has been prostituted in the cause of internal party power games. If I lived in Makerfield, really a part of Wigan, I would be furious about it. I'm not sure how it could be done, but I don't think it should be legal to resign just so somebody else can have your seat. If there is no legitimate reason, like ill health or scandal, there should be some consequence. Burnham, of course, has tried to pretend, using one of the worst slogans in history, "For us," that he is doing this in the constituency's interests. It is risible and is convincing nobody. So really, this should be a pretty sure thing for reform. It's a Leave voting, predominantly white British Red Wall constituency, faced with the prospect of an arrogant career politician from the now hated Labour Party using its voters as pawns. If the election were occurring 6 months ago, you would fancy Reform to repeat the Runcorn and Helsby victory, as opposed to the Gorton and Denton failure, where the demographics were not so much on Reform's side. In the face of these factors, Burnham's admitted local popularity would be unlikely to swing the balance, meaning Farage's man Robert Kenyon would win comfortably. However, within that 6 months, a competitor has emerged that could piss on Reform's parade and usher in Burnham. As we all know, that party is Rupert Lowe's Restore Britain. I have spent so much time over the last 2 weeks trying to persuade restorers they should not split this vote and deprive everybody of a vital and amusing Burnham humiliation. For consistency, I have also opined that the Tories should stand down. Suffice to say, my arguments have fallen on deaf and often very vitriolic ears. Restorers will have none of it. Reform are the uni party, just as bad as the others. Burnham winning will make no difference. Doing this will put Restore on the map. Restore are inevitable, just like remigration. You're either with us or against us, and so on. This is often peppered with abuse and speculations about whether I'm gay, brown, or Jewish. There is not even an acknowledgement from these ultras that tactical thinking has a place, that perhaps the prize of denying Burnham is worth holding your nose and voting reform. Some restorers at first were of the opinion that, owing to the particular significance of the election, Lowe should not stand a candidate. Others claimed Restore were not yet ready to fight such a battle, and should use that time to build their infrastructure. These were quickly attacked as backsliders and traitors, especially once the local party in Makerfield decided Uncle Roop should go ahead. Most such critics, like Steve Laws, king of ethno-nationalists, saw the way the wind was blowing, then announced they were fully behind the move. I say all this as someone who was, and to some extent still is, a supporter of Restore Britain. I joined before they were a party because I valued their input on issues such as the Pakistani rape gangs. I still think Restore can be the answer long term, provided they iron out some of the more extreme elements, but it makes absolutely no sense to back them in Makerfield. Why is this? In part 2, we'll go into it.